Do you want to get the maximum amount of returns from your Amazon PPC ads with the least amount of effort? Then stay tuned, because I'm going to show you the best way to quickly adjust your campaigns and give you back time to invest in other areas of your Amazon business or just doing whatever you want. Plus a few little bit of extra tips to help you really dial in your Amazon PPC ads perfectly. All that coming up next. Welcome back to the Sunken Stone channel, where e-commerce brands, agencies, DIYers receive tips, tricks, tutorials, and more to improve strategy, growth, and operations every week, so be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button. I'm Lucas Matthews from Sunken Stone, and today I'm going to teach you how to manage your PPC ads very effectively with very little time. So first, let's talk about budgets. So here we're looking at an example campaign. We have data looking over the last 30 days, which is actually not true. We're looking at lifetime, but we're going to say it's the last 30 days because this is an old account where I'm able to show you metrics and numbers, whereas I couldn't do that with the client's account. Would hope that you would understand why. But here we're looking at an account over the last 30 days, and we're going to try to figure out, what kind of budgets do we want to set for our ads. So let's say hypothetically we're targeting an ACoS of 40%. Roughly our profit margins, we're willing to go neutral on ads just to start generating those extra sales. So here we have this automatic campaign at 56% ACoS. We have this manual campaign at 18% ACoS, several more campaigns that are closer sort of to that 40% ACoS point, and then this auto low campaign that's at 1.66% ACoS. So the easiest thing to do right now is to make sure that you are allocating your budget effectively. If you're spending a good amount of money, you can potentially, it's really easy to lose track of these numbers when you're spending a lot of money and to not necessarily see when you are leaving money on the table. So for example, right now it says all of these ads are delivering. However, if you were to check in later in the day, some of them might say that they're not delivering because you've run out of budget. So you wouldn't know that if you're always checking in the morning, but if you were to check later, you might see that you've run out of budget. So there are easy ways to pay attention to this. Amazon's introducing little budget tools all the time, so pay attention if they introduce some new feature that could be helpful for you. But right now it's a month, so I just divided by 30. So right now we're looking at a little over $9,000 of spend at $300 of budget. That means that we're spending all the money that the budget allocates for this automatic ad, and we're still at 56% ACoS. So that tells me two things. One, you could adjust this automatic campaign so that you are getting better ACoS. And two, if you're trying to hit 40% ACoS, let's look at some of the other campaigns. If we're running out of budget on other cheaper stuff and you're happy with the amount of money you're spending, just shift the budgets around so that that automatic campaign is getting less spend and some of these low ACoS campaigns are getting more spend, such as this Polymailer manual campaign. So at $160 of budget, multiplied by 30, that's like $480. Amazon allows you to spend just a little bit over your budget, so keep that in mind. We're at $490 over the last 30 days, which means we are really getting close to that budget. And at 18% ACoS, why would we allow this to spend almost twice as much when the ACoS is 3 times as good here? So that alone, and we're talking about thousands of dollars spent, that little shift alone, if you switch the budgets, just made 160 the auto and 300 the manual could spend out, the automatic could change, and you could shift your ACoS by 10%, even more potentially, depending on how much better this manual campaign spends. So do this little multiplication by 30 trick using the last 30 days. You can use the last seven days divided by 7. Anything like yesterday, really close date ranges, it starts to get tricky just because Amazon's reporting is a little bit messy, but really do keep in mind that you can just use this previous 30-day divide by 30 trick to figure out if you're getting close to your budgets. My hunch, and I've never had this proved, but my hunch is if you allow your budget for this 18%, you could even go beyond 30, go closer to 500. In the event that you get some surge in keyword traffic, you want to make sure to leave your best ads wide open. That's what I always do. It's a little bit riskier, but if you control your targets and bids, it's totally going to be worth it, and you'll reap more sales because of it. The next thing we're going to look at is our keyword selection. Before we do that, I'm going to give you this nice little tip. So in case you didn't know, there is a placement setting modifier in your campaigns, and this allows you to bid based off what kind of placement you're getting. case you don't know, top of first page, those are just the ads that are the first ones you see in the search results that say sponsored. That's the top of first page. As you can imagine, the click-through rate is way better than the rest of search or these product pages. And as a result, our ACoS is significantly better. I just moved the placement multipliers like 20%. So if it was 20 and we still saw these numbers, I'd move it up to 40. And then you just do that until your ACoS numbers sort of start to balance out. That's how I do it. There are other people that manage it differently. You could set your bids really low, crank your top of first page placement multiplier up to 900, and guarantee that you're only getting top of first page spots. However, that leaves a little bit on the table. This rest of the search isn't terrible. Neither are these product pages if you do it right. So I don't advocate for completely eliminating a placement, but pay attention to this placement multiplier. I'm using 30 days. It's just a very easy way to manage these things. But every 30 days or so at the beginning of the month, I go in and check my placement multipliers over the previous 30 days. And if you still see the ACoS doing really well here, just continue to bump that up. Anything more than 50, you're kind of getting into risky territory. But if you just move it up by 20 or 15, 10% each time, you can take advantage of more better sales. Who doesn't want that? So diving into this, ad group is not named well. We're selling tape right now. So we're looking at a tape product. So what I'm doing right now when I'm looking at what I'm optimizing for is I'm asking myself, am I bidding on the best keywords? So the longer tail, generally the better. Like those are going to be your best performers. Those are going to be the ones that are specific to your product. And if you're selling something like fish oil, it's probably pretty rare that you're actually going to get a conversion for fish oil. It's more likely that you'll get a conversion for Antarctic salmon, deep sea fishing oil with vitamin B3 or something to that effect. You want something longer generally. So for example, this is an old campaign. So these are using old numbers when Amazon PPC was a little bit cheaper, but looking at tape, broad match, that's getting most of our traffic at 27%. Pretty good. Normally I wouldn't expect a single word to get such a good ACoS, but if it works, it works. However, if I scroll down a little bit, I see that we have just packing, which once again, pretty risky as a broad match. Still doing pretty well. Keep in mind, these are old numbers. So you probably wouldn't see a single word keyword do nearly as well, but hey, if it works, it works. Sometimes things just work out. You got to keep it. But if we dive down a little bit further, we see that we have dispenser broad match at $1 bid, the same as all these other ones, 0.03% click-through rate, which our average for this campaign is 0.21. So pretty atrocious. 53 clicks, only 3 sales at 141% ACoS. I would go as far as to say, look, we've got 342 keywords. We want some of those to get more sales. I'm going to go ahead and pause that, or just bid it down to the point where you're getting such a small amount of traffic, it doesn't really make any difference. So pay attention to the keywords that you are actually getting traffic for. If you're seeing some random ones, or if you're looking through a keyword list and you find something really relevant that isn't getting traffic, consider just bidding that up a little bit. So just a quick visual scan, look for outliers, especially with this ACoS. I like to make sure that I have impressions, click-through rate, spend, CVC, order, sales, and ACoS all viewable at the same time because it gives you really good information. If you see a really low click-through rate, a really low conversion rate, and a really high ACoS, it's a dead giveaway that you either need to eliminate or bid down that keyword significantly. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, even more detail, is when you've got these keywords, so we're looking at a polymailer this time, so it's going to be a little bit of a different product. However, it is within the same niche, so pretty similar keywords. When I'm looking at this, we've got kind of a tight bid strategy, but there's been some changes over time. So you would want, this is at 17%. If you were targeting 40, I would start to bid some of these up a little bit more. But in general, when you're looking at your keywords ACoS, the best scenario is when they're all sort of the same, right at the target ACoS that you want. So if I had some other campaigns that were spending and they were a little bit high ACoS and I wanted it to blend to 40, I might try to get this closer to 30. So this would be something polymailer bubbler. I'm at, I'm at $1 bid. Some of these are in the 9s and it's a little bit higher than these ones that are lower. So these could potentially get kicked up a little bit, and this could get lowered. If you've recently increased the placement setting, remember that you've just basically effectively done a small bid update. So you could expect these numbers to get higher just by way of your placement update. So I might just start cranking some of these things down just a little bit. If we keep investigating, I find this random 14 by 5 by 19 polymailer. So polymailer was doing all right, but this really specific size measurement one is doing awesome. So look for these little outliers, things that are doing either really well or really poorly. You can use click-through rate, you can use number of orders, you can use ACoS. And just once you see 0.5, so lower than some of these other ones, 2.87% ACoS, dead giveaway. You could even just use this ACoS to determine, see, look, there are a ton of low ones here, and there's the 65% one here. Just lower that one down a little bit, bump all the small ones up a little bit. That alone is going to produce you some really, really good results. So your best campaigns, look at your top keywords, pay attention to those placement settings, make sure you're bidding on the right keywords, and make sure your budgets are all spending correctly. That's it. That's a 5-minute update. That's all you need to do. Our advertising team here at Sunken Stone, comprised of 9 people, manages thousands of campaigns and tens of thousands of products, all for probably above 100,000 keywords targeted. So we are managing a lot of data, and I use these techniques to make sure that, you know, a very small number of people that you can count on 2 hands can manage, you know, close to 100 different brands. These techniques are the things that I put into place for our agency that helps us manage bids at scale. We do this all the time. I've been doing this for 6+ years, and doing these things alone is going to produce you really, really good results for very small amounts of time. We're very conscious of the way that we spend our time, and so I am very adamant about doing the things that are most effective quickly. And the things that I just showed you are exactly that. So pay attention to your budgets, pay attention to keyword selection, pay attention to those little settings, and pay attention to your bids. Just for the top stuff, you can do that in 5 minutes. If you just circle back every 7 days, that should be enough that you can effectively manage an Amazon PPC campaign really comfortably, you know, without spending a lot of time doing all these things. If you make a lot of changes all at once, I would just glance at it for maybe a minute a day over the next 7 days, just to make sure nothing's going crazy. Make sure you give your optimizations time to collect data such that you can do it again. But seriously, like 5 minutes at the beginning of the week for smaller accounts, doing the things I said, and then just 1 minute check-ins every single day to make sure things aren't going crazy or your ACoS isn't spiking or your sales plateauing or dipping. That's all you need. You can manage PPC easily that way. For more great tips on how to set up your Amazon PPC campaigns, make sure to pick up a copy of the Amazon Advertising Hierarchy, where you'll get significantly more color on which ads to use at what times and can serve as a reference guide when making campaigns. You can get that by clicking the link in the description box below this video. So what are the next steps for you? Make sure your good ads are spending correctly, cap the poor ACoS ads, keep building your campaigns, make sure you're doing some bid adjustments, and you're cutting out wasteful spend on unnecessary keywords and making sure that the correct keywords are getting ad spend. Seriously, time yourself. Spend 5 minutes doing it. You'll see tremendous results. If you really want to master the art of advertising on Amazon, then watch this video next. It's the 7 easy ways to improve your ACoS on Amazon. Some of the things I talked about, plus even more really cool tips to get you the best ACoS possible and help you generate more sales.